So the New York Knicks are going through their worst stretch of basketball right now. Lost to the Thunder, Bulls, Magic, beat the Raptors, who only have 8 wins, and then lost to the Thunder by 25 points. That now means that this season, the Knicks against the top two teams in each conference have an 0-5 record with a minus 86 point differential. The Knicks are also shooting 28% from three in their last 10 games, and it's not even on a high volume. I mean, how many threes did the Knicks take against the Thunder? Let's go take a look. 31. I mean, that's not a low amount, but overall, the Knicks haven't been shooting a lot of threes. There's been games where they've taken 20, 21 threes, and they just cannot seem to find any sort of rhythm whatsoever. I think the reason for it is two things. One, it's just a shooting slump, and two, the bench just hasn't been giving the Knicks much. Even when it's played, it just hasn't looked great. There was a lineup last night out there that had OG in it, and we saw McBride and Shamit and Payne and Chua. It just didn't play very well. Honestly, that's been the biggest thing for the Knicks is just they haven't gotten minutes or production off of their bench. But one positive was that Ariel Hukporti played 13 minutes last night, was a +1, had two block shots, and looked very promising. It just goes to show that sometimes you've got to play your young guys just to go out there and take some of the burden off of the starters, even if it's going to take some time, because we've seen the Knicks third string go out there and an example would be what was it last game where we saw a couple of our third string guys go out there and they were like a -10 in a couple of minutes. So obviously that's going to be on the table, but just thinking about the longevity of the season, the Knicks have to get more minutes and production off of their bench. And the problem for this team is that they can't exactly go out there and make moves because of the new salary cap situation. If the Knicks trade for someone, they have to give out more money than they're taking in. And that's just going to be nearly impossible to do. That would be like going out there and trading Achua and Mitchell Robinson to bring in another piece. And I just don't see the Knicks doing that. In terms of picks, the Knicks do have a first round pick, but it's from the Wizards and it's top 10 protected. That's not going to convey. The Knicks did trade that Pistons pick, which actually is going to convey because the Pistons are red hot right now. They only have one loss this in January, but that went to the Timberwolves. So second round picks maybe could get it done, but you still would have to trade a player in that. So this is basically the roster the Knicks are going to have. I know they've expressed interest in trading for Nick Richards, but there's just not a lot of options here. So what it comes down to is just utilizing what you already have, and that's why Tibbs, he's going to have to play Hukporti more. We've seen Jericho Sims, of course, in the game last night be a DMP. He's been in trade discussions. I could see the Knicks ultimately moving him, which would elevate Hukporti to being that backup big until Mitchell Robinson comes back. Achua only played 6 minutes, which is very, very confusing. I'm sure it was a matchup thing. But you just look at the starters. I mean, they're playing a lot of minutes. I mean, last night they didn't play the fourth. Brunson played a little bit of the fourth, but these guys weren't out there, so that's why the minutes were so low. But overall, you're seeing the Knicks go out there and Mikal Bridges is first in minutes. And then you've got Josh Hart and OG are also in the top five. These guys are just playing a lot of minutes. Cat actually got injured, had to miss a game just because he was overusing that knee. That's what they said the injury was. So you've got a starting lineup that it's finally catching up to them, and it's only January. I mean, the Knicks still have a lot of basketball left. They're 25-14, so there's still a whole second half of the year to go, and the Knicks already look tired and fatigued. And we'll never know if this is really just a slump or an overusage of the minutes, but I do think that it's time for the Knicks to either just go out there and to get another bench piece or to just start to utilize Pacome Dadier and Ariel Hukporti. Tyler Kolek, he's not going to be able to get too many minutes just because of the logjam at point guard, but the Knicks do need help at wing, and they need help at big. They need somebody behind Cat that can come in and just hold it down. But Josh Hart deserves a lot of credit because he's the one guy that I thought last night just went out there and gave it his all. I mean, Cat had 23 and 10, don't get me wrong, but Josh Hart had 16 points, 13 rebounds. 6 of them are offensive. Remember, he's 6'4", 2 assists, 3 steals. I mean, Josh Hart just seems like every game to this point he's going out there and contributing, man, and he should be in the All-Star conversation. But if Cat and Brunson don't go off, and then also you need Mikal and OG to knock down their looks. So you're just asking a lot out of the starting lineup. And you look at the Thunder, I mean, their starting five went absolutely off. I mean, I don't even remember if Isaiah Joe started. Game was last night. It's 3 in the afternoon when I'm recording this, but yeah, Isaiah Joe, he ended up where is it? Okay, it's at the top one. Yeah, Isaiah Joe came off the bench, played 30 minutes at 31 points, 8 of 11 from three. With a guy doing that off of the bench, I mean, good luck winning that game. But then also, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander had 39 points. Jalen Brunson on the other side of that, he ended up just scoring 27 points. Brunson, 12 from the free throw line. 27 is really good. Brunson had a good game overall. I mean, but it's just collectively, it just wasn't enough. But even so, I mean, that's still 12 less points than Shea. So that's really what it comes down to is Brunson's going to have to outplay Shea. And then you're going to have to get a monster game from Cat. And like the starting five just has to score 100 points to even have a chance because you think about it, the Thunder, I don't know how many points they're averaging, but they're going to score a good amount. And if the Knicks starting five doesn't get 100, that bench is going to have to be on fire. And we've seen Miles McBride get hot, but I mean, just came back from injury. He's clearly not 100%. 20 minutes, 7 points. Campaign gave them 11 and 15 minutes. And then, I mean, the bench was just I don't know. It's just the bench. I mean, it just hasn't. It's been a big weakness, but it's also just there's not that much talent on the bench. Like Deuce McBride's good. I like Precious Achiuwa, but Huck Porty is the last pick of the second round. At the end of the day, Matt Ryan, like Jacob Toppin. Landry Shamet was 1 of 5 from three, and Shamet was so bad defensively. I mean, guys were literally just targeting him and going after him. Tyler Kolek defensively, I mean, he's just not NBA ready. So he's been crushing it in the G League, but he just hasn't been able to get it done at the NBA level. But we kind of knew that when drafting him that it was going to take time. But you just look at the Knicks and their starting five is struggling. They're in a slump. Their bench isn't producing, and it's no wonder that they're losing, especially against these top teams. But you look at the Knicks. I mean, they're 11 games over 500. Their best bench piece in Mitchell Robinson hasn't played a single second in the NBA this year. So I'm not overly concerned, but I think it would be a massive stretch to say that I wasn't a little bit worried at least, just because the Celtics, I mean, they're 27 and 11. The Cavs are 33 and 4. And then in the West, of course, the Thunder have an amazing record and whatever. But I just don't think the Knicks right now can match up with the top two teams in each conference. I mean, they're 0-5 with a minus 86 point differential. But that doesn't mean, of course, that they can't improve as the season goes on and come up with a plan. But Tibbs, he's going to have to go away from what he's done ever since he became a head coach. And that's just not overwork the starters. When Mitch comes back, I think we'll get a real assessment of where this team is at. But Mitch is a 7-footer coming off of a couple of surgeries and injuries or whatever. So he's not a guy that you're just going to be able to rush back. I mean, Mitch is probably only going to play, I would say, like 8 to 10 minutes a night when he comes back. And also, if Mitch is truly coming off of the bench, well, Cat is playing. How many minutes a game is Cat playing? Probably like 37, 38. So that only leaves you with, like 10 minutes, 10 minutes for Mitch to even play. So that's why I would like to see a little bit of Cat and Mitch combos, but then all of a sudden you're probably limiting Cat by playing Mitch. So it'll be interesting, but I don't think there's a reason to panic. But the Knicks are just playing poor basketball right now. They've been abysmal. They went up against the Thunder twice, and they lost by 10 in the first one, and they lost by 5 in the second. And then, of course, so you go back and you take a look at the Celtics game, which was forever ago, October 22nd. We lost by I think it was 23 in that one. Cavs, we lost by 6. So it's been rough, but there's still a lot of season ahead, man.